kubva 1995 pandakasvipa ZANU-PF andinombobvira ndaita murakashi. Saka nokuda kwesomeone anonzi haakorektwi, the moment yauda kumukorekta unobva wanzi uri murakashi. So it's the same, a feeling yandiri kupika panapa from other speakers kuti they have my consent, they would rather have a gathering, voorganize vari pachavo, votadza kupika a leader, vongoti ngatiite zvatiri kuita, because the urgent matter yatinayo ndeyekuti apa taakutonyudzwa isusu. So we've got to understand kuti this issue yemaleadership yatiri kubvunza nezvayoyi inoda kuti tikwanise kukasira kuita cover. Taita cover, we agree, we move on. Otherwise, we will sit on this issue tisingambooni solution, because umwe noumwe ane understanding yake ye-leadership and approach. So inini, I would suggest kuti varipo ava tina vagara tina vava, let's at least try give them benefit of doubt. As long as they are coming to us, they are talking to us, they've got a little bit of know-how of things that we can also correct them. Is all we have series with. But anyway, ramba urimo, because vanhu vatiri kuda isusu vanotungamirira kuona kwandiri kuita nemood, vanhu vanofanira kuti tipinza mustreet. Tikasapinzwa mustreet ka hapana leadership imwe inobouya inodarika iyoyo, because ndo urgent matter itofanira kuita attend to. But this leadership issue, better this is my opinion, Scotty, dai taikwanisa kana tikaita 2 days tichimbodiscuss, asi kana tikakwanisa kungaita nhasi tikapedza ka, let's move to another stage, because time is not on our side. Thank you so much, Scotty.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Black Knight, you dropped your network, I think. Are you still there? Okay, Black Knight is not there. Let me go to Masi. Masi, how are you? Then I'll go to Dr. Tadin Beck.
Oh, I'm here, Coach.
Okay.
I won't take much of a minute.
Okay, Masi, just hold on a bit. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, no, nachida kungoadresa kuti patiri kuudzana zvinhu izvi chinoita kuti tireject imwe information yamunouya nayo ndeyekuti you monopolize it. Struggle yaisi yekumba kwenyu, and it's for us. So kune vanhu vari kutaura zvinhu zvekuti zvinotibuilda, but then in the next minute someone owewa kuti ndakagara ndakuudzai ndakambodai, so hauna kumbogara watiudza. Tantisipo when you had that conversation. You see, and it's not like you have the podium to tell and to direct us here. Akuna the approach yekuti tatowana commander and all that. So let's just have this approach to fit in, to understand kuti it's a pool of ideas where we are all humble in all humility, tichionana tiri on the same level, sevanhu vari kuda kusimukirana pamwe chete. Izvo kufanira zvipa maranks ekuti pamwe makaprofita, you were tall in the spirit, ukagara waona future, you foresee it and all that. The questions will come back to you and say, why are you not winning this struggle? And then vamwe musaite hasha dzekuda mukadambuka makumbo kunge hwiza, where you just come and say, tell us that you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, we know and we understand what you are saying, but it's not making sense. You see, it's you who is saying that. But don't force it on us. Kana zvato rejectwa, zvarejectwa. It's your approach. Probably it's not only your ideas. Sometimes it's just totally asking make sense, my ideas. But we are allowed to just come to our, but we don't face much resistance and rejection. Because I don't know, maybe it's got to do with your lives. Kuti, you're so miserable to a point that some of you, you're just seeking company. But we're not going to give you that company, a trimondo, Come maybe next time when we've won, victorious, then yeah, we can talk of giving you company and accommodating you and all that. But for the time being, don't come and offload here. This is not the platform and this is not the time, unfortunately, in as much as we want to accommodate all. Saka Scott, with your discretion, nechikumbiro, itai muchitidzorawo patenge torasika, tirege kuwestirana nguva panapa, and kungochema kuti dai ndanzwikwa. That's just the approach that I see kuti ndo zvimwe zvekutitadzisa kuwina this struggle. Kune mahiro ana rambo anoda kutidira struggle. vari kufunga kuti iye ega ndiye anoenda nebhomba kumberi onotiwinira hondo. It's not a Hollywood style. This is reality, people. So let's be real. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, my leader. Thank you for feedback. Yeah, to the course, Dr. Dadini Magawana wano chirasika oro. Sometimes I do that time to pick up. You understand? They need to multitask. So Magawana wano chirasika, please don't hesitate. I think it's your responsibility as a co-host to stop them or even to drop them. Thank you. Let me go to Master, then come to you, Dr. Dadin. Yeah.
I don't know who died and made Black Knight Jesus. Kuti zvaakasunga muheaven zvatosungwa on earth. Kuti akataura yatova rule. There's nothing wrong with people reminding us of what they've said before. This is usually 95% of the same people in same platforms. Hindsight is also very good to say, dai tange takaita izvi. It allows us to see how many missed opportunities we have had from consistent. I can say Scotty has consistently been speaking about consistency. He has a right to say, I said this. Davira ndichizitaura. That's why that word exists even in our language. Why does it exist? It exists to show people who amongst them consistently have good opinions that keep being ignored whilst you look for leadership elsewhere. So they are good to tell us. As long as they can back up what they've said, and there's a group of people who heard them say that, why shouldn't they say it? This spirit yekuhumbleness yevarungu yakauya nechristianity kuti munhu mutema can never say what they said in the beginning, and only God is allowed to say what he said in the beginning. No, there are people from the beginning, they were correct. But because we were looking for somewhere else, and now we are doing a 360 back to where they started, they are correct to say, I have been consistent in calling out things that now, years later, you are returning. If we had done them then, because now you are agreeable, we would have had 3 years of working to this. So there are many leaders here, many leaders from different fronts. There are leaders for coordination here, and adopts, consistently telling us how organizing, mobilizing, and implementing works in communities in Zimbabwe, the largest stronghold of ZANU-PF. They have a right to saying, Dakaranda Ndavtaura is, go to your communities, do this, work together in this type of formation. This has worked in my community. Dai tangeta kamterera then. I would have gone to my community in the rural areas and they asked Dobbs, how did he do it? Kwake kuchirezi, it worked. Land, they still have it. Some of the houses are not destroyed. Did they get arrested? Yes. But what did they do? So ane right, ane mvumo yekuzitaura because ane evidence to back it. And we will be back, even if it's in 20 years, to do exactly what he said in the beginning. And you should not tire to keep telling us what he said in the beginning. There are many people here who have told us things we are now starting to do. We can go through each and every leader here. So we shouldn't create rules that we want to just use as shade to the political parties or political players who we should tell them, Iwewe kana kuri komichi. I don't want to hear your nonsense. But if we create a culture of saying that people must not be reminded, then we are just trying to create a bad culture. Hindsight exists for a reason. Reflection is there for a reason. Ziva kwawakava is there for a reason. Why do we read? History is repeated for a reason. Why? So you can learn. What is it that we dismissed in the past that takuvumirana now? So I don't agree, Scotty, that people should be muzzled from saying things that they have consistently said. There are people who spoke about unity as the beginning thing from Kudara before Anakomichi said that. Many people spoke about that. Many people said, bury your hatchets. Let's try and do this. There are many people who came before and said, guys, we can't wait for political parties. We need to develop our civil societies. Why shouldn't they say that? They were correct. That is where we should draw our leadership from a ward level, a constituency level, and we are starting to adopt language that is counterproductive. A hate for the word organization, a displacement of what the word citizen means. A citizen belongs to a group, we declassify them. They are no longer a citizen. No, you are a citizen. Political parties are made of citizens. Their leadership are citizens. They don't lose citizenship by belonging to a political party. Once they become members of a political group, they do not lose citizenship. They still are citizens. When political players are in parliament or council or cabinet, or they are still citizens. That's why we have got a representative democracy. They don't lose citizenship, but because a particular political party used the word citizen as part of their organizational name, we have demonized the word citizen. If a citizen belongs to this, they are no longer a representative. They must be mistrusted. No, pastors, Kuma Church, are also citizens. And they represent citizens of faith, whatever that faith is. Mapostoli are still citizens. They don't lose citizenship that because they belong to the sect. They are still citizens. Citizenship here in Zimbabwe is diverse. That's why it says, we, the Zimbabwean citizens, united in our diversity. That diversity means we can be religious, we can be academic, we can be professional, we can be political. We still are citizens. And we must work united in that diversity. Another word that is being demonized again is the word movement. Just because a political party used that word in their political party, now there's a distortion of what the word movement means. Ukangoti movement, there's now a suspicion you've become a political party. Therefore, you must be distrusted. Politics is now a dirty word. Politics is not dirty. Humans within political parties can become dirty. Systems that they use in their political parties can cause them to do dirty work. But the other citizens can group themselves political and achieve great feats. And it doesn't mean that once they achieve one great feat, it means forever. They must just be given the false sense of security that they will forever be good. No. ZANU-PF was a very good political party for its members then in 1963. Doesn't mean that it carries it forever. MDC was good for its membership and support base and the citizens of Zimbabwe as it took them through different processes. But it has times when it fails. Doesn't mean that everybody now who starts a political party must be viewed with skepticism, negativity, and demonization. No, we have a governance system in Zimbabwe that relies on political organizations. Our councils are made up of political institutions and entities having to go and occupy those positions. They can do so as an independent candidate or as part of a political organization. You cannot contest those things if you are not in a political outfit. That is a fact. If you want to be an MP in Zimbabwe, you must go and register with the Electoral Commission, Electoral Court, and you must identify yourself as a person now interested in politics of Zimbabwe as an independent or one that is also governed by the constitution, processes and procedures of a political party for you to be a legislator. So we can't demonize politics because our governance system, for you to be in cabinet, you must be an appointee of a president who comes from a political party and is also an individual. And now they are going to pursue the aspirations as presented by their political manifesto that won an election. Can't demonize politics and make it a dirty word. Just gather yourselves in your organization, political or apolitical, and be ethical to the cause that you want. Strategically, you can be different to others, but it is in the diversity of the Zimbabwean citizens coming together with one cause. It doesn't determine for us strategically that we must be of the same strategy. It just says we must be united in a cause. And that cause is to stand against all forms of oppression, all forms of domination, defy any systems that suppress us or repress us. That is what must be common. Strategy, do what you want. Then the other sections speak to how your strategy must be implemented. In Zimbabwe, your civil disobedience must be peaceful. It must not undermine the rights of others. It must not harm or prejudice the full enjoyment of other citizens in Zimbabwe. Now it moderates your strategy. Anything above that, the full force of the Zimbabwean constitution says we will come against you with all entities and instruments of state to stop you if you become a menace to this society. So this idea that we can appropriate words and then try and demonize others with the same words, citizen, movement, organization, they are not dirty words. And you are not a citizen only when you say, I am apolitical. You are a citizen even when you are political. You are a citizen when you are spiritual. You are a citizen when you are religious. You are a citizen when you are supporting a leader. You are a citizen when you don't. That is the full expression of our Bill of Rights. To try and cause other citizens to say they must enjoy part of their Bill of Rights by saying you
Yeah,
can
but I'll
only
give you
become
2
a real
minutes to
citizen.
land.
Okay, I'm lending. That you can only become a real citizen when you are apolitical. That is trying to make us live 1% of our rights as Zimbabwean. I have a right to be political. I have a right to be a political player. I have a right to politically influence. I have a right to wear a political jacket and speak on Zimbabwean issues. I have a right to be a politician. It's not a demonized set of circumstances in Zimbabwe. And the new Zimbabwe we want is one that doesn't demonize politics like ZANU-PF, that says when it participates in the processes and procedures of Zimbabwe, it can, because it is paranoid, deem them to be toxic. There's no toxicity just because one player does not know how to use the rules of engagement. It refuses to follow those processes. And now, when it has been defeated in the tools of its trade, it wants to say, let's not participate in this event, which is a constitutional right to participate in. Why would we be fighting for CAP 3 if now we are diminishing the right to be political? Yet CAP 3 itself is a political expression into our governance system. How do you defend against it? If you are now saying politics is dirty, then step out of the ring and go and kumbaya somewhere else. Kuchurch ndipo paunoti the things of the world do not matter. We are just pursuing the afterlife, post-death. But as long as you are a Zimbabwean citizen, you are asked to participate in these political things.
Yeah, thank you, Mas. A lot of feedback there, Dr. Tadin. It's now your turn. Also, can you moderate the space, or I'll hand over to you now because I wanna go buy fish and chips. I'm hungry, so you can do your submission, Dr. Tadin. We also have former mayor of Harare, Ebed Gombe. Thank you so much for joining space. Knows your network, Zimbabwe, known as Dr. Tadin. So we're going to compromise and maybe give him 3, 4, 5 minutes.
vatopo here meya former
Yeah,
meya
yeah,
vataura
varipo. But if you want to
ngavataura
submit
hariswaona
first, but it's fine.
vabva vadona.
Yeah, Shadzoka, I think. We also have Mdara Arwangor Court. I don't know if he's still there. You can check on him. We also
Yeah.
have Tapio. I've been jumping him. So dropping him and jumping him, should I say, at the same time. So yeah,
All right.
over to you, Dr. Radin. You can do your submission or touch from what Masi say. Also, everything. Over to you.
To say, I only had 2 comments. Pane imwe yekuti when leaders organize, when the citizens organize, whatever form of organization they form, whether they are purely political, especially when we talk about Cape 3, it's unfortunate, all of us will be political, even the church is against, because the issue we're dealing with is a political matter, and we're coming against a political entity, and we're holding a different political view and a different political position. So whether citizens choose to call them citizens for citizens, citizens that are political but against the Cape 3, it doesn't matter. But there was a question about leadership. Maybe in order for the citizens to be able to achieve anything, they have to go back to the leadership of old, or they only have to pick from existing leadership. And I would say nothing can be further from the truth. For example, Isusu already with other citizens who hold different opinions are gathered together. When you gather together like that, automatically leaders start to rise. They rise in the sense that people take up responsibility. Someone is good with the editing and the hosting. They are the ones who say, okay, I'm going to provide the platform where we're going to meet. This is the parameters and the protocols that we're going to follow to ensure that the space that we're going to be meeting is at least somewhat safe or is at least somewhat stable. And these are going to be the rules of engagement so that we do not allow the non-ZANU PF infiltrator. Pese patosangana, one of us is obviously ZANU. We've just come accustomed to that. This is how we'll make sure that we don't get derailed. We'll implement these rules. Automatically, that person is already in our mind positioned to be our chief of communications or our chief of technology, something of that sort. Tiri macitizens kudaro takutoziva kuti hatina grouping yatatara kana maposition atafanana, but takuziva kuti whenever we have an urgent need to have a meeting takumufonera toti ko tadini unogona here kutirongera chiplatform chaya chatisangane futi tiite musangano of wasenda mainvite. Then among us kune vakasimbira kumuromo senge inini chataura iti tine mastatement ari kufanira kubuda, saka hapana here anokwanisa kunge achimabuditsa tadina hatyi kutaura zvinhu ende anoti taurei mashoko akati wandei. He will be able to add some things that we miss, but these are the critical points we want to present. Automatically ndakutonzi pamwe ndini spokesperson paroda kutaura, hatina maposition atafanana. Think about it. Then patiri takaungana kudaro pane umwe ane better organizational skill, ane muono uya wamunoti wetwiza kana muchitaura semazimbabweans, being able to maybe project in a way that the rest can appreciate. They overall might then be given the position yekuti vange vari the one that spearheads the vision of what it is chataungana kuti tiite. So in a sense, they are the chairman or the chairwoman of what we're doing at that particular moment in time, the de facto leader of who is supposed to craft the overall vision of the gathering together or to knit it together, because already taunzwa need this commonness. Now I'm expressing to you how leaders naturally arise, and that getting the leader is not the first move. The first move has to be us coming together. Just the right group of people or a given number of citizens saying, Isusu, we really want to be actively involved in resisting Cape 3. So I'm going to talk to so and so and so and so and see if we can come up with something. That's the first thing. Then the rest, the feelers, some who are activated only by seeing things happen, who do not want to be the movers, the trailblazers, who then come up and join or support eventually kumberu kuzvatanga kuitika. You get where I'm going with what you need to focus on. Your focus is not to be at this particular moment in time, is not to be, can we import a leader? It's not like a company that is trying to get a CEO, trying to headhunt for someone to lead you. A leader will emerge maungana. according to your different capabilities. Kana kuti papo muchangoti right izvezvi kana macapabilities asina nguva yekuti abude, muchangoti iwo nini ndochambogara sacheo uchitiudza kuti aiwa iwo wataurisa chimira vamwe wataurawo iwo uri kufanira kuita chakati. If you've taken up your responsibility or you have not, right? Even I have a group of friends, we do drink, and when we go there is a hierarchy of sorts that is formed itself, an organization. We already know kuti anodrive ndiani, we already know kuti open a table ndiani, ari more responsible pa table kuti hatizokanganwe kana kuzopa weight achingoramba achitipa weight ndiani. We also know kuti anotiudza kuti guys, I think we have gone beyond zvatawirirana kuti toda kumwa 5 tamusezve ngatiende kumba. So when you gather, the first thing is to gather. Then worried about will emerge as you are engaged. The state that we exist in, we're already too dependent on the personality politics. If the personalities have refused to call you to an action that all of you are aching for, then just call yourselves to that action, or listen to those that are calling you to that action. You're already subscribed to the idea, right? Let's talk about the idea that we're subscribed to. We're subscribed to the idea of protesting, as an example. And the entities that were leading us before are not subscribed to that idea. It doesn't mean that we are beheld to them. We can still pursue the idea under different formations, or pursue the idea with a different leadership. In that moment, it also doesn't mean when a leadership, their leadership style is necessary, they might emerge, but at the moment their leadership style is not what we need. They are not capable to take us in this particular case. They were good for the roadside. Maybe we need a captain. He might be ruggy, he might behave one NEC and another leg chopped off is on a wooden pole. But that's what we need, a pirate to sail the ship. Then the issue we should be able to some of the lessons, the historical lessons, experiences.
Yeah, your network in a glitches, your network in a glitches there. I was trying to be patient, but thought it's going to change. Can you try again? Yeah.
David, I don't network. I cannot my earphones. Yeah, say it.
Yeah, boy. I think my earphones or network. I'm not sure. Yeah. Boy.
All right. Yeah. So I was about to end on the issue at Namasi. Ikuti, should we be recalling back history? Yes, we definitely need to do that. That's another disease. 2022, 2023. And we are footed because of my leaders at now of old opposition. They did not want us to recall history because if we reflected to those failures, then it do not look good on them. All of them. That's why they were very adamant. Don't point to history. Then after 2023, they also made blunders very serious as opposition. That's why they have a tendency of saying, do not go back to history. Ndosaka ndikupa example yeSADC kuti munhu akakudzai kuti mirai ndichaita zvakati ozokudzai kuti ndimi SADC. You learn a lesson. The lesson that you learn is next time akatiti mirai ndichaita zvakati hamumiri, munongoti aiwa unozobatana nesu tamboita patiri kuita. Ndosaka ndapa example of a burning house. If a house starts to burn, we don't all wait and say we're waiting for the fire brigade to get here. Muraini momo munoona vanhu that's the feeling. So here is important. However, ndofunga zvapindira papachibatira my brother Black Knight specific but I won't touch on that. But I agree with the sentiment being shared. The sentiment history is essential. This is write down some of the things it's up to them and say this is what we proposed. Ipanon's got organization, my sister thinks political, and I don't mind that, but it can be anything that you choose. But the reason why we write is so that we can go back to those points and say, okay, we had this thought process. Maybe it is time to implement it. So what was happening at this particular moment in time, so that we learn from that and we don't keep on falling in the same trap. So I think that is a very essential component, and thank you for emphasizing that. And people should not deny zvinhu zviri pachena. We've had a tendency kuda kuprotecta ma-leaders edu in opposition to a point yekuti we distort history, and we distort history to our own disadvantage. If we were distorting history to a point of removing ZANU, it would be better. But in most cases, we distort history to our own disadvantage. So those would be my comments on that. And I'll pause and maybe we can continue to, since Tapiwa anga achijambwa, Tapiwa and then Grass.
Thank you, Dr. Tadini. Brilliant submissions and sober ones. You don't drink, do you? You're very sharp. I mean, our conversations, I have a problem with our conversations. The fact that they are an end game. You know, we discuss brilliant ideas. There are very pertinent questions being asked, which is fine. Of course, there are always being people now starting to take camps. You know, it's fine. It's healthy, of course.